All right, Throne of Liberty, guys. We got some good news and some bad news. And they announced Orb Nerf in the Tico talk, and we were like, oh my god, we're getting a massive nerf. But like I said in my video, is Throne of Liberty are not really good at balancing classes. And they kind of prove it with the new patch notes. So the patch notes are out in Korea. We're getting the same ones tomorrow, and they will be active after Thursday. So the nerfs and the buffs or whatever are active after Thursday. And what I was saying is they're probably going to nerf the crossbows a little bit, the orb a little bit to make the adjustments so classes will be more balanced. And then we got the patch notes in Korea, and they have getting the maintenance today. And the changes are inside the game, so I was waiting with the video to see what the actual changes are before I make an opinion. And I'm gonna be honest, it's not looking too good for us melee enjoyers. So let's just jump into it. So we have the patch notes here, and the dev comment is basically that the DPS of crossbow orb combo is crazy, which it is. And people were mad at me because they were playing crossbow orb. Don't worry, guys. You guys are safe. Nothing is happening to your crossbow orb. You're completely chilling. They're like, don't sweat it. All right. So I'm just gonna zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see a little bit better. But here you will see that they basically say in this balance patch we have adjusted excessively high DPS of orb crossbow. Not really. Not really. The combination can exploit accumulated damage in an instant through the sign of the crossbow detonation. Basically, with the crossbow detonation mark, you can just dual damage, and 80% of it will just go crazy, right? So this caused the problem of skipping some monster battle patterns because you could nuke the boss and skip a whole phase. It was pretty crazy. The rates were pretty crazy. Therefore, the mechanism of detonation mark is limited instead of cramming all DPS at once. This is not a nerf, yes. So it's basically what they're saying. It's not a nerf. It's still going to be absolutely broken because the only fix they're actually doing to the crossbow is the durability of infiltration of the selfless basically can only apply 100 times. So that is like the limit to it. Now, most people that played it we'll see that this is not going to be a huge nerf at all. So crossbow orb are still going to be extremely strong. But I'm not completely mad about that. Like, I know a lot of people invested in it, and I was hoping that there would be a little bit more balancing. But this is still going to get more changes going forward. Now, this is where I get mad, okay? Because we know what are the most broken classes right now. It's Invocators, Fury classes, especially in PvE. For dungeons and bosses, you kind of want to have these range classes because they're absolutely broken in PvE, right? And Staff Orb was pretty strong. We thought Staff Orb was getting a nerf. He did talk about it, but it's not getting a nerf. It's getting a buff. Yes. However, there is a slight nerf, which we got to talk about, which is the Orb nerf of the reduced cooldown. Basically, the leap skill. So it's been changed now. Where it won't reduce cooldown of absolutely everything. It will only reduce cooldown of certain things, which will lead to lower cooldown reduction. But if you stack high cooldown, it's not going to be too much of an issue. But they're basically fixing this skill, temporal leap, where you go invisible and it goes kind of cooldown. It's only going to be used, I think, for certain skills, survival skills and stuff. It's basically a healer nerf. Because I did see some people using it in battlegrounds where they were just stacking insane amount of shields and then just leaping and getting the cooldowns. So it's going to be a small, slight nerf, but they're going to make up for it with Staff getting buffed. Yes, can we believe it? And Wand getting also buffed. Yes, so they're like, these classes are already OP. So what we're going to do is not change them, completely make them OP. So I did talk about this before, guys. I did talk about the nerfs and the buffs coming to the game, and I did think that certain classes, because I've been really on the hype of gladiators being strong in PvE and needed, potentially the bow coming back, Greatsword Orb being strong, and I'm gonna be real, guys, that copium is gone. I'm not coping anymore. So most likely, I know you guys been playing and watching me for the GS Orb gameplay, and I play Crusader on my main, but I think I'm actually swapping my class now to Crossbow Orb. Yes. I'm kind of done with this whole neglection of melees in PvE. They are strong in PvP still, don't get me wrong. Crossbow Orb slaps in both PvE and PvE. However, these classes are just extremely broken in PvE. So if you want to play PvE or a PvE enjoyer, these are one of the classes that will be safest, which will be anything with staff orb is good, staff wand wand orb, wand crossbow, things like this will be extremely strong, and it's ranged, so it's much easier to play because that's just how the game is designed. They are punishing melees in most of the mechanics are for melees. So good news. Now there's obviously going to be more changes to this going in the continuing weeks, but I'm going to be real. I don't think any of these classes are going to get a heavy nerf of what we're seeing. And meta is going to be developed because now we're going to be getting tier 3 gear. It's going to be completely new stats. Maybe other classes will become more overpowered later on. But right now, if you go with these builds, I think you're going to be solid. Now, if you do have a question of swapping, should you swap or not? I did make a video on how to swap very easily. So this game will give you the option to swap if you play it on a Hyperboost server to a different class fairly easy. So you don't have to worry about that either. That's why me, GS Orb Enjoyer, is going to be swapping. I'm going to be testing out probably the Crossbow Orb or Crossbow Dagger or Orb something. But I am a melee enjoyer. I always play melees, but at this point, it doesn't make sense for me, especially on Hyperboost servers where you kind of need a lot of damage right now to catch up and do all the hard content. And if you're doing battlegrounds, you need to play a very viable class. And right now, I just don't see especially GS Orb doing anything. I think actually them nerfing the temporal leap actually is disadvantage to certain skills on the GS, which is kind of unfortunate. So for the people wondering, are you getting a nerf? No, you're still chilling. You will still be popping insane damage. Just that now we're gonna have more classes catching up to that damage. So the Orb Crossbow is getting probably a slight nerf while the other class is getting a bump. So now it's basically more overpowered classes. And if you're not playing any of these classes, you're going to be left behind. You're going to be in the lower tier. So I'm going to make in next week, I will look at the classes and see the changes. And then I'm going to make an updated tier list for people that want to know how strong each classes are. But basically, the other classes getting a little bump that were already strong, and the Crossbow Orb is getting a little slight nerf, but overall, I don't think you're going to notice anything. So that is what we know so far. Let me know what you guys think. Are you guys going to swap? Are you going to continue playing your class? I would love to know. Let me know in the comments below. I'll be making a lot of content. I have a bunch of content planned for Lucent and the new raid, everything coming. So make sure you guys tune in for that. Check out this video right here, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.